Hey you guys, so I'm back again with another message from the Lord. Got several messages I need to record. Like I told you guys, God's really been dealing with me about some things. And one thing that God reminded me of, and I'm gonna come and share with you guys, is to don't limit yourself in this season. Sometimes we don't necessarily sometimes the enemy don't necessarily put limits on us, we put limits on ourselves. And God don't want you to put limits on yourself in this season, in this hour. All right. God dropped this in my spirit. I know in a previous message where I was talking about me like researching all the different type of things that I can do with my degree and different avenues and stuff that I can take just to research and just to be aware and realize that I was limiting myself to certain fields and certain avenues that I can do like different things with it, multiple things with it. For the upbuilding of God's kingdom, for my business, for things in the community. Like I was really just placing limited on myself because, like I said, we perish due to the lack of knowledge. And it wasn't until I sat down and did the proper research that I learned, oh, I was limiting myself in this area, right? So God is saying, don't put limits on yourself in this season. All right. I know I did a previous video. Thank you, Holy Spirit, where I was talking about don't put limits on God, but don't put limits on yourself in this season. Do your research, do your due diligence. Talk, pray, and fast with God. Ask God what different avenues that you can take, but you do need to do your research if God is telling you to work on certain things. And don't put limits on yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Don't just think that you can only just do one thing and that's it. Research different avenues that you might can take when it comes to doing certain things. Like I said, don't limit yourself. Like I just had this mindset with my degree that all like I just had was so tunnel vision with it. Like my desire is just to teach, right? I just have a strong gift, passion about teaching, but I can do more than just teaching with my degree. And excuse me, y'all. And so you guys, y'all have to research and see what's out there. Like sometimes we limit ourselves when it comes to certain things because of our mindset, because of the lack of knowledge. All right. God said in his word that my children perish due to lack of knowledge. And so we just need to make sure we are, utilizing everything, that we are checking everything, that we are exploring every possible option that's in God's will to figure out, okay, God, I explore all these things. I research. You tell me which way I need to go. You tell me which way I need to take. Because sometimes we can have so much tunnel vision that we forget the bigger picture, or we don't realize that there are other avenues that we can possibly take that's better for us during the season that we're in. So God wants me to come and remind his children, don't put limits on yourself in this season. Like I said, your girl was really limited in her stuff. I was limiting myself real bad. Because I was only thinking I was able to teach, certain classes. But didn't really understood, or until I did research, I found out there's so many other classes that I can teach if I want to teach, right? And was overlooking the ones that I could teach because I didn't know no better. I was limiting myself, right? So, don't limit yourself in this season, in this hour. Okay, it's imperative. We can place our own limits on ourselves due to the lack of knowledge, due to ignorance. Make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you're doing your due diligence. Okay, and exploring different avenues and stuff that God might want you to take. And thank you, Holy Spirit. And I know some people feel like that when God tells us to do stuff, that we do something that we don't have to do our research, that we don't have to go to a process and get things done. We do. Esther had a process. David had a process. Moses had to go through a wilderness season type thing to be processed until he was able to be sent back to release the Israelites from Pharaoh. It's a process. Everything is a process. And just because God has gifted you with something does not mean that you don't need to perfect your gift. Does not mean that you don't need to perfect your craft. All right. Does not mean that you don't need to do the research. Does not mean that you might not can't start off on your own right away, that you might have to work up under someone else to get the experience before God releases you to go out on your own. So don't limit yourself. Do the research, perfect your craft, and keep God first, y'all, and everything. Keep God first. Let God lead you and guide you. But when God gives us assignment to do things, y'all, we do have to do our due diligence. We do have to research. We do have to make sure we're doing things properly. We serve a God that's very, very detailed. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And God is about doing things in decency and in order. All right. But don't limit yourself in this season. Make sure you're doing your things in decency and order, and make sure you're doing your research. Like I said, if I have not did my proper research on the different avenues and stuff that I could take, I really would have been stuck. I really would have I was placing limits on myself without realizing I was placing limits on myself because I didn't go the extra mile to do the research. But since now that I went the extra mile to do the research, I know better now. I know that there's more out there, that more avenues and more things that I can do. Where I was just placing limits on myself. So don't place limits on yourself, y'all, in this season, in this hour. Do your research, okay? I love you guys. I am praying for you all. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. And I will chat with you all later.